Hey there, welcome back to another video. This time around, it is my review of the 2024 horror short film, At the End of the Hall. Now, before I get around to sharing more of my thoughts on this film, I want to give a special shout out to Eric for requesting my thoughts on another one of his short films. And if there's another film, TV show, or topic that you would like to see me discuss in the future, feel free to donate to either my PayPal or to my Patreon. The link to both is in the video description down below, and I will try to get to your request as soon as I possibly can. Now, At the End of the Hall is, in my opinion, yet another solid, genuinely good short from Eric Albert Branstrom. He also wrote the film as well as directed it. It stars Sam Sage, Sophia Vitello, and Christian Herominski, and it features original score by Stalk the Owls and some public domain classical music. And overall, I really liked this short. I felt it was very moody, very eerie, very atmospheric. I feel that Eric did a good job directing it in terms of utilizing different camera techniques and angles and all of that kind of stuff when it comes to filmmaking. I think he's getting really good when it comes to framing his shots and just setting things up and really showcasing his vision. And I think the script is also quite good as well. It deals with this distraught husband who's dealing with a lot, and he's having to essentially feed and maintain and take care of his wife, who is now some kind of monster that feeds on human blood. And it's called At the End of the Hall because his wife is in a locked room at the end of the hall in his house. I like how in the beginning of the short, the story is very ambiguous. It doesn't necessarily give away right off the bat that this mysterious woman that he sees in a vision in the diner who's eating blood is his wife. And I like that there's a lot of usage of sound to really get under your skin, whether it's like the wife's guttural noises and growling, or it's just stuff like the banging on the door, or just the music itself. And eventually, what happens is after a moment of feeding, where this guy feeds his wife with his own blood, by the way. Like, he actually cuts himself. He's cut himself so much to the point where he's got all these bandages all over his arm. He gets a visit by the local priest who's checking in on him, and the priest sees that he's bleeding. So he doesn't necessarily buy it when he says that he's okay, but the priest is like, all right, I'll check on you. I'll keep an eye on you, and I'll pray for you. But then the priest eventually decides to come back to the guy's house late that night. This is when the wife has actually escaped from the room, and so she actually winds up killing the priest. And it seems like he's going to try to kill his wife with like a stake, kind of a predictable sort of fashion. But the script decides to go in a completely different direction, where he has a stake for protection, but he's actually able to calm his wife down and actually gets her to, give him a hug, and they have this embrace. And then, like, the end of the short is him eating breakfast the next morning with his wife handcuffed. And yeah, he's just got her handcuffed with her hands behind her back, and they're just eating breakfast and trying to and feeding her some blood, and he'll be eating his. I think she was feeding him some blood. I'm not 100%. I think he was feeding her some blood. Sorry. But I'm not 100% sure. But I know he was eating breakfast. And I thought that was interesting. That was a different sort of way to end things. And I liked that there was a heart to this. There was definitely a tragic undertone to the story involving this husband whose wife somehow became some kind of ghoul or vampire or monster, and instead of him just distancing himself completely from her, he's actually trying to, still be with her, and to the point where he actually is feeding her to the detriment of his own health. And the moment where the wife sees a photo of her and her husband when she was still human, like that was an extra bit of tragic undertone that I didn't expect, and I really feel it definitely makes the short stand out in a good way. I think the performances were pretty good. I think Sam Sage did a solid job playing the husband, showing the various different emotions that the guy was dealing with, effectively showing him in despair and him just feeling hopeless and emotionally and mentally broken down because of what he's dealing with and what he's having to face. I think Sophia Vitello did fine as the wife in makeup with the long fingernails and the pale white face paint and the creepy looking eyes and everything. I think and the sharp teeth. I don't think she hammed it up too much when it comes to her part in the film. Oh, and I forgot to mention another performer while I was talking about Sam Sage and Sophia Vitello. Christian Herominski, who plays the priest, he does a pretty good job too. I feel he was definitely an actor who had a very unique vibe to him, which I really liked. Kind of reminded me of some of those character actors from back in the 70s and 80s. So I definitely think he was a good addition to the short um, in a fair amount of ways. And so yeah, pretty good cast for a short film. I will say this though, I would have liked to have known exactly what the wife is supposed to be. Is she supposed to be a vampire because she's got the pale skin and the long fingernails and the sharp teeth, or she's just supposed to be some kind of monster or ghoul? Some kind of definitive explanation in terms of what exactly she was supposed to be would have helped, because her being a vampire is kind of a stretch because she's there in the kitchen in daylight and isn't affected by the sun. But maybe there's just different rules to this particular vampire. I don't know. Um, but I still like the fact that it was still relatively vague and left a lot to interpretation, a lot up to your imagination when it comes to what exactly is the origin here, what exactly happened to her. Like I didn't need like a beat for beat or a spoon-fed moment where you just explain to me like exactly what happened to her, but maybe like, oh yeah, she's a vampire or she's this or that. Also, I didn't really care for the filtering. Like there was a post processing, post production filter that was put on the film to make it look like it was scratchy and grainy. I didn't think that was really needed. That's just me personally. I know it's there for aesthetics, but I just I just feel it got a little distracting at times. So for me personally, I probably would have preferred the short just to be shot normally. And for the most part, it is. But what I mean by shot normally is not shot normally, is edited is closer to normal fashion. Without the post production filter added on top to make it look like it's a grainy old film print. Um, I like the music, especially how one of the songs that was utilized actually had a connection to the couple, with it being their song. Um, and I like the usage of the classical music, and I felt it was well edited. The makeup effects when they were there, I thought they were very efficient, especially the makeup on the wife. Um, and yeah, overall, I liked it. I thought it was quite good, and I definitely would recommend it if it sounds at all interesting to you. Uh, and I still am really looking forward to what Eric does next. He does some really good quality short horror films, and it just seems like he just, as he keeps going, it's just getting better and better, and he's becoming a better writer. He's even getting a little bit better when it comes to the direction, and so it's just something that is really nice to see every time that I get an opportunity to see another short film from Eric. And honestly, I'd love to watch other short films from other aspiring horror filmmakers, because I think there's a lot to potentially like or get out of these. And I would love to see Eric do a feature film someday. I've said that before and I'll say it again. I really would. I think he could do a really good job with an indie horror film. But anyway, that is my thoughts on At the End of the Hall. And until next time, I'll see you later. See ya.